show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on GTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Tertola Pier Park, NV Salon Spa Nail and Barbershop, HOV Medical, and Digicel. Sign up for Digicel Plus Home Light Bundles, faster internet, movies, and sports. This is the big story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this edition. In studio with me today is no one that is strange to the set or strange to you, because so much has been happening as it relates to no, live, no, fix, live, win.
All right, you got it right.
A beautiful slogan that we can apply to our lives in so many ways.
Yes.
To Arliene T. Penn, I am delighted, especially this morning, to have you sit here with me. Let's talk about knowing, fixing, and
living,
making sure that we live so
and you
that we
win.
give that winning testimony. It's so much deeper than you could even imagine in this space.
Yeah.
But in this moment, we are talking about this in the era of looking after ourselves as women and dealing with what can cause cervical cancer. I'm accustomed to saying cervical, so
I know, you know, I will say cervical.
Yeah. And you have been on this campaign from the time you decided that, listen, it is no longer about me, but us, the rest of the women across this territory and around this world.
Yeah.
How has this been? Are you having any sneaking regrets that you really did put yourself in this thing that, you know, is now absorbing so much of your time and life?
You know, I wouldn't say that. Well, first of all, Kathy, thank you for having me, you know, once again on the big story.
Yes.
It's always good to be here and to be in your company. If I have any regrets, no, I don't have any regrets at all, because for what, 16 years I was silent, but I would talk to you one-on-one, and I would tell you, because you're my friend, you know, because I wanted to encourage you directly.
As an individual.
So I dare not would have came out publicly to have said anything. And then, you know, about 3 years ago, I decided to just open my mouth and to say something, not knowing that, you know, sometimes you think it's just you alone in the bucket, but it's not just you alone in the bucket. So when God has saved me, and when my life, I've got it together in terms of my scar, a scar is nothing that we should be ashamed of. But it should be used to help others so that they too can live good quality lives. So that's really what all of this is about, you know, just being exposed to, you know, as a young person, I didn't know what HPV or you know, STIs are, because these aren't things that they would talk to you about. So I just wanted to make sure that I'm able to speak now publicly with other women and even men.
Yes.
To let them know, hey, you know, these things exist, because when you're talking about HPV, they cause throat cancer, penile cancers in men. So we are not
separate from each other.
No.
We're all one human being.
No.
It's not just a woman thing. It's a
woman and man. It's a family
and
thing.
Girl, yeah.
And when I sit back and I think about our society, and I was thinking about, you know, Arlene, one of the reasons why you can also speak publicly, it's because I'm looking at years from now, if we continue on the track where we are, we wouldn't have any babies being born. We wouldn't have families.
Healthy babies.
We wouldn't have healthy babies.
Yeah.
So how do you ensure that we have healthy babies? But when I said no babies being born, I had to do a hysterectomy.
Okay.
So you see, that was the repercussion of what I had to go through. So I don't want any families to go through that, you know, where, you know, you're in a relationship and you should be, if you want to have, if that's your desire, there shouldn't be anything that that's hindering you
Yeah.
from doing so.
And when
So
you look
I
at
don't regret it.
Yeah.
I don't regret a bit.
All right,
One
I'm happy.
bit.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm hearing. I'm hearing.
One
Yeah. And when we look at the world statistics, and if you were to examine it, we'll realize that so many of these women who we would have lost or would have felt the consequences
Yes.
of being diagnosed with and having had to do an hysterectomy,
Yes.
a lot of them did not have that opportunity like you
Yeah.
had to have birthed
Yeah.
kids.
Yes.
Yeah, they had to
Yeah.
do that before they
Yeah.
even could have conceived for the first time.
Because
So,
it's a tough decision, you know,
Yeah,
Kathy.
tell me about it.
It's a very tough decision, especially when you're in your early 20s, to hear that, hey, this is one of the things that you have to do, because it wasn't the talk. No, there were no discussions about radiation first or chemotherapy first, nothing like that. It was, listen, in order for you to prevent from moving any further, you just have to do the
Yeah.
hysterectomy. So that meant that no more womb, no more.
That empty space
No
take
more.
up now with
So
fat
I
or
have,
something else.
so you know, I have my 2 sons. I was able to, you know, birth 2 sons, and I thank God for that. And then by marriage, I would have gotten 4 children. So which is good. So six together. But what about the woman who just can't?
Yeah.
What about that man who wants but can't because of the penile cancers and things like that? So these are some things that we really have to consider, because our body, as a temple, when there's no life in the body, there's no you.
Yeah.
Right? When there's no life in the body, there's no more you. And these are things that we just really need to be cognizant. And I want to be cognizant of this, especially as we are celebrating June is considered Cancer Survivors Month. Cancer Survivors Month. So I just want us to just know what's happening to us, fix it, so we can live. And win,
awesome
and
winners.
win.
And just before we really got started on the set, we were even talking to the prevalence of STDs and
the STIs, HIV numbers that came,
all of
that's going on.
And look how it ties right back into what you were your campaign about. I told you, Arliene, this is bigger than you really knew from the very first time we spoke of it.
Yes.
You know, this thing is going to take different levels. One would have thought that, you know, after the pageantry and all of that, okay, now, like we see very often, I reign for a period, I do what I said I was going to do, and it's done. In this instance, this is not done until God says,
it's done.
Time
it's
to
done.
rest my
it's
dear
done.
child.
And I knew that was going to be the case. You know, when I came out publicly, and I did ask my husband, we did have that conversation, because you have the conversation with God first, because whatever is happening, you know, in the home, God allows you to shut that door, to allow the noise and the outside to happen. Because when he shuts that door, it means that he's working on you, healing you, but you're not sure what you're being healed for. All you know, the door is shut. But when he says that door is about to be open, it's not meant that it's a one-hit wonder. It's not a one-hit wonder. It means that whatever you start, because you will be doing it in my name, it's going to be something that's going to be continual. But I wasn't sure what was meant by continual until, you know, when I said that, okay, I'm just going to, I've done my thing, I've did everything I needed to do.
Like,
let me go back to just one-on-one. So that was my intention, to go one-on-one. But the week or the 2 weeks, the week before, because I was trying to think about what fundraiser can I come up with. Because here am I about to give up the crown, you know.
Yeah.
About to say,
all right.
Then comes Arliene, you have to think on another fundraiser because you need to raise some funds because you can't stop the campaign for the pap smear screenings because the pap smear screenings are important because the pap smear screenings are not just about cervical cancer, it's about just finding the abnormalities because there's so many abnormalities that you can actually find in readings from the pap smear that can help women because you're trying to catch any precancerous or any sort of
condition
that is affecting the vagina.
Yeah.
You just want to make sure, and I'm happy that I've been able to help women in those areas. And then here comes Unite BVI. Dr.
I wonder if they understood the name when they coined it Unite BVI.
Yeah. They called me and they were trying to, we're trying to work with the Gallup group at first. And when we're trying to work with the Gallup group at first, we realized that after speaking with me, they realized that, oh boy, this is much, much larger because what they said to the Gallup group, what we want you to do is to attach yourself to someone who already has a cause and then you go and you help that person to push that cause. But during this time, I'm saying, I don't know if I want to do it such on a big scale. And they came forward and said, listen, we are going to power this thing because we believe in what you're doing and we want to be a part of what you're doing. So this is where I created a relationship between Unite BVI and Win BVI so that there was a connection there. Because the campaign, what I do, I have the campaign that's running under the Win BVI banner. So that, because you want to make sure as many women are reached as much as possible. But No Fix Live Win is not just about cervical cancer awareness. Because for me, it's much deeper than that because there are a lot of things that I had to know about me, whether physically, mentally. A lot of things I had to work on with me, image, me. Things that affected my life where people would tell you things about what you can't be. But the mirror, I always have a mirror in my bag. And I would hold up the mirror because sometimes, I don't know, sometimes people look at you and they, I've been in the wilderness for quite a while now, since getting to know me. And the pageant sort of took me through a number of things as well, where, being able to meet women from across the globe, you're thinking that it's only you would be going through. It's not you alone going through,
Yeah, and not just a few around you in your community.
And I would have just put up the video, which you would have recorded, when I sang that song, Self-Love, a song that came out of me understanding what it meant about when God says, he says two things. He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. And he says, love your neighbor as yourself. And I realized that I was loving everyone else except me. So if I don't love me, I don't know how to
love you. It's fake. It's not real. It's not the depth.
So that took No Fix Live Win now to its original meaning. And then that's where self-love came. Self-love came out of, obviously we were doing some classes with the Win Foundation, where the Dr. Tracy Kimball, who is the head of the Win Foundation, would teach a lot about in the classes about self-love.
Self-love, yeah.
Self-love and how it's important in terms of making sure that we don't find ourselves in any narcissistic, abusive relationships, whether it be from friends, whether it be family members, so a number of things. But for me, when I wrote the song Self-Love, it was, Arliene, you're taking care of everyone, and you've lived your life for everyone. What about you? And this is a question my husband used to ask me all the time, and I really appreciate, I would say, his movements in the marriage. Because his movements have always been this, whatever you want to do it. You have to do it. And sometimes I would be humming, I don't know if he would, no, just get up and do it. Don't look at the mountain. Just do it. Just
start climbing.
Just do it. Because if you know what you want, then you fix what's in your life and around you to get what you want. So that when you get what you want, you're able to live. So when I see those ladies around who were standing around, I remember when I got there to that pageant, the moment, because I was able to share my testimony with all of them. So because I shared my testimony from day one,
when you get to that stage,
I am Mrs. BVI. I'm Mrs. British Virgin Islands, and the first thing they learn is my platform. Then they learn what it means about know, fix, live, win. So when they were standing around, which it was an out-of-body experience for me, they understood from where we were, what we were talking about. And hence, that's the repercussion, the good repercussion of that experience, because everyone knows. Self-love, don't negotiate. Self-love is how I operate. Self-love is my freedom stance. Self-love is my one demand. Because we have to love ourselves, because when you love yourself, Kathy, you wouldn't ill-treat yourself.
Oh dear, I so wish that so many of our women, our people, men, women, boys and girls
don't ill-treat yourself.
Get to understand.
And don't ill-treat me. Don't ill-treat my body. Don't ill-treat me. Give me that right to do. Don't go out there and willfully do things that would affect me. Because that's one of the things that, because they're saying now it's a criminal offense for you to infect me and affect me.
Yeah, knowingly.
It's wrong, knowingly, yeah. Because I have a right to life, just like you have a right to life, So I really do not regret.
I'm happy.
I don't regret it. I walk with my head still high. I walk in this awe that I know who I am and whose I am. And God is still working on me in a number of areas. Because, Kathy, I thought that I loved the yellow. I thought so. I realized when you sit down in the quiet moments of your life and as you're going through that spiritual change, you realize, I don't really like yellow, It's because you told me I look good in yellow. That's why I say I like, I maybe like yellow. But we need to get some quiet moments to ourselves so that we learn who we are. And that's what know, fix, live, win. And that's why I asked the women to go out there.
And get that person.
Yeah, and I'm happy that over 300 of them were able to sign up to be a part of this initiative. So we have... We still have a lot more work to do.
I'm just going to say, because I remember it's 2 campaigns so far.
Three.
Right? Three. Oh, dear.
Come on.
Yeah, three of them. Campaigns so far.
3 of them.
The numbers that you and then more than that, you realize that so many more women did not get to tap in on those 3. And the numbers are so high. Yeah. And there is still that need.
I still have a lot of work to do because many of them came after.
Yes.
After. And said, we were on holidays or so we weren't able to sign up or we weren't able. So I know that there's a lot of work to do. So I will be doing this for 2025 because Unite BVI has already said that it is willing to partner with Win BVI so that we can actually continue this because
elevate, because I know they are going to do more as they see the demands and the need. When BVI is, Unite BVI is going to they're doing.
And I'm really appreciative, because you do your work and when I started this, I just did it. I didn't do it. I just did it because I just didn't want people to go through what I went through. That's why I did it. And to see how many lives and how many women are coming forward and men, I had the opportunity to be on the receiving end of the phone registering persons, and there were men registering, whether it be their significant other their aunts, their moms, registering them so that they can be a part of it. And there were times where I recognized two things that we didn't, think about in the campaign. One, there are women who just want to be tested yearly, because of what has been sent out, regarding NHI for women to become, every 3 years you would get your pap smears. There are women who really, really want to get their pap smears done. So, you try not to discriminate as much as you can. And then there were women who even called from different communities, different cultures. So I had to make sure that there were female doctors on board for those women who would, because of their religious beliefs. And I had to make sure that
it is on the surface like just a simple thing to do.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So you have to then you coordinate with the clinics to make sure, make sure there's a female doctor, a female gynecologist who's there, and then, because we would give them, they would call, and they would ask them some specific questions. When was your last pap smear? Whether or not if you have NHI, so that we know exactly how the funds will go at the end of the day. And if we would give them the names of the different clinics, and then they will say which clinic they would want to go to. And then sometimes the question was, can you tell me which one? There would be a female gynecologist. We had to make sure that that information was available, and then you would sign them up for that specific one to give people preference.
Yes.
Preference, because cervical cancer, it's a global. It doesn't have a face. It doesn't have a nationality. It doesn't have religion. It doesn't have culture. It doesn't have
no
It doesn't have no da da da. It is just that. And that's the same thing with all cancers, just as the same thing with non-communicable diseases as well. Yeah. It's just all. And we have to be able to cater to persons, to persons' needs, and to understand where people are. There were women who were over 65, like 70, 75. Yeah. Because, sometimes we think that someone stops being sexually active at a certain age, but there's women who, come on.
I don't know why people think that, just that they don't talk about it too much.
And they will be like, she said, I'm over 70.
Yeah.
And I'm active, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you try not to. I want to make sure that whatever we do, it's not discriminating or leaving persons out who really need to be a part of the fold and to embrace, because it's all women. But I just want to thank the men for just coming forward and just calling, because it gives me an opportunity then to share with them. But since that I go into the schools, I've been visiting the schools, I visited Elmo Stout, I visited the technical school, and everywhere I go I walk with my banner.
Yep.
Because it's in my car now. Because sometimes people will call me, can you just come and do like a lunchtime pop-up for us, please? And I do the lunchtime pop-up where we talk about these things. There are male bosses who would call and say, can you just come to our office? Because we want you to talk to. And then sometimes there are women who are about to go through the experience of hysterectomies, and then that in itself is another conversation. So I'm able to talk women through that process. But right now, I think what I'm focusing on is a symposium. I want to do the symposium, but that would be on menopause.
There's something going on here.
Yeah, right? menopause, because sometimes, menopause could be natural, and then menopause can be hastened on as a result of hysterectomy.
Yes.
Now, I have not had the opportunity. I didn't have that I didn't go through the menopause early, or menopause, because obviously they kept my ovaries in
Okay.
because I had a radical hysterectomy. But there are women who may have gone through the total hysterectomy,
yes,
and that person automatically then goes into menopause. So I'm really working on, that's my next project, because it's all connected to the no fix, live, win, considering that hysterectomy too causes that. So you see how everything. So when you think you are.
Yeah. And the thing about it, when it comes to that aspect of it, many times women are not prepared for what's to come. Until we would have experienced it and realized that, listen, nobody prepared me for this, you know, Lord, it's
I know.
deep. But when is the next, you have in the next batch of...
that wouldn't be until, that would be next year, but we're going to be beginning the campaigns like probably November, December. They're about to get persons registered before they go off to the holidays.
Okay.
But the heat or the more thrust of the campaign will be January, because January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. But for testing in February, that's Love Month, because it's the reason why it's there, because I want women to, in February, to just love yourself, because that's what this is about, just loving yourself. And Kathy, I have to thank you, because the idea for the menopause symposium, you kept saying to me all the time, I hear you talking all, but you need to have a symposium.
Yeah, I experience it, dear. I
understand
what
So I heard you.
Yes, it's important.
And I've heard several other women. I've went to churches, small women's group, and they have been asking for the same thing as well, because when I am speaking and I'm delivering the information, I also as well speak about, if I had gone this road, then this is what would have happened to me. Because when I went to the doctor, they gave me all the scenarios of what could happen to me. But there's this conference that I'm actually will be attending, and it's a menopause solving the puzzle conference that I will be attending. I'm going to probably try to attend from online because of the timing of it. Because then that would give me a very good understanding of how to
do that,
to get it done. Because I'm visualizing one setting where all the clinics are actually present.
All right.
And the people who are going through will be present.
All right. We want this to sit with you. We really want this to sit with you. Look out for more discussions on this. We will continue this. Arliene T. Penn on this mission, and all along we're having this conversation, and I'm remembering, I'm just seeing you there in that space in the Cancer Society office, delivering the very first public presentation about your experience. And when it was all done, I remember clearly saying to you, say the word vagina. And, it was like breaking those barriers. That thing, we need to be speaking. I'm happy to see where you're at now. I'm so happy to see that other women are getting into the Mrs. BVI platform, saying that I was influenced by Dr. Arliene T. Penn speaking up. And they're going there with other issues that are so prevalent here. And it's so remarkable when you sit and you hear in those spaces what women are saying. Thank you for doing this. Thank you. If it had not been for and this is what life is all about. If we continue to follow the path that God has put us on, what we're supposed to do in this life, challenges are going to come.
But it's how you navigate them.
Different angles.
It's how you navigate them. You know how you navigate them? You know, fix, live, and win. That's where God is. God is in the win.
And we'll leave it right there.
Right there.
Right there. Thank you so much. I look forward to continued conversation, and we look forward to seeing you taking actions for your life. Support that loved one. Support that friend. Just say it to someone that you think needs to hear it. And let's know. Fix, live, and together we will
win.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Kathy Richards.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions, which support small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.
Are you searching for new home decor items that reflect the season's latest trends? Look no further than Right Way Home. From cushion sets to decorative vases, we have unique pieces to suit every style and budget. Discover your right find at the right price, only at Right Way Home and Right Way Stores.